What is up, AfterBuzzers? Welcome back to another Dead to Me After Show. Today we're going to be talking about Season 1, Episodes 5 and 6, I've Gotta Get Away, and oh my god, we're talking hit and runs, we're talking hookups, and we are talking the Holy Harmonizers. Stay tuned.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Yes, what is up, you guys? Welcome back to another. Yes, I wish it was a margarita in here. Oh my gosh, that'd be very on brand for Jen in this show, right? It would be great. Welcome back, you guys. I'm so excited to be here talking Dead to Me yet again. I cannot get enough of the show, and I'm so excited to discuss with my lovely panelists. I am joined by two of them tonight. We have Anais on the far left.
Yeah, I wish this was a margarita. Oh my god, so bad.
And next to her, we have the lovely Mia. Welcome back, Mia. Thanks for joining us.
I missed you guys
We
on
missed you too.
Sunday. I was in Mexico, which
Ooh.
was fun,
you
but
were on
I
your own
honestly wish I was
getaway.
in.
Yeah, you also had got to get
I was at a
away.
grief retreat with Jen and Judy, yes.
Incredible. I'm so excited to be here talking with you guys today. I want to know your overall thoughts. I thought these two episodes were really fun. I loved that we kind of got them out of the Laguna Beach area, got them kind of on a little getaway. And then, of course, we got more of her kids and Charlie and Henry and how she's struggling as a parent a little bit more than maybe she thought. What were you guys' thoughts on these two episodes?
New character, who dis?
Yeah.
That's the whole time I was thinking about Jen. I literally was like, who is she? She was so like carefree and free-spirited and fun, and I loved it. It was like a whole new side of her, which I thought was super exciting, and it was in Palm Springs. It felt like summer camp. I was like, I need to go to like Palm Springs now. I don't know. And then Friends of Heaven, you know, getting to see them, and Yolanda, I literally love her.
Yeah.
Like
Great.
she is iconic. She was singing. I was like, I am Yolanda.
Carrie on Oki.
Yeah, yeah. It was
Yeah,
really
I love seeing that other fun side of Jen as well. And just seeing, I was just very curious at the beginning of the episode, about what kind of hijinks that they would get into. And, it was nice to kind of maybe not think about Ted so much and have, guys to flirt with. And then Judy as well, kind of move on from Steve, hopefully. So, yeah, I love this episode.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go on in and talk about Judy a little bit. Like you said, she is trying to move on from Steve, and she seems to be doing a decent job at the pool reading a book on how not to be codependent, which is pretty funny and a little bit ironic because like she's clearly becoming maybe a little bit codependent on Jen. I feel like she just switches from person to person, but I mean, who can blame her? Like, Jen's amazing. I also would probably if I was in her situation. But she's trying to kind of unpack everything, and she is really taking this retreat more seriously than Jen, obviously. Did you guys assume that it was a retreat, or what did you think was happening at first? Because I thought they were just, like, on a vacation, maybe?
Yeah, I thought it was just a girls' trip because at the end of the, I think, 4th episode, she just, she was in the car and she just wanted to go somewhere. So I thought, okay, they cut there. They're just on their girls' trip. But, yeah, and then I think, what's this, Walter? The other guy comes up to them, and then that's when you find out that
Oh, Pastor Wayne.
Wayne, sorry. He comes up to them, and that's when I found out, oh, okay, it's a retreat. But I don't know, I just thought it was funny how Jen was just not into any of, like, she didn't want to go to any of the workshops or anything. She's like, I just want to drink, basically. Just want to drink, check out hot guys. So I feel like she deserved that. Just have fun.
Yeah. I at first I was not expecting it. I also thought they were on vacation, but then, once we find out they are, I'm like, this makes a lot of sense because of the show itself. Like, it's supposed to be dark and supposed to be kind of like, a sad, morbid topic, but they managed to make it fun. So, of course, they'd open this episode and you think we're on, like, vacation with them, but it's a grief retreat.
Yeah. And I loved how we just, like, keep showing how different these two characters are and how Judy's, like, so into it and is, like, loving the t-shirts. I thought the t-shirt was such a funny touch. Like, it's like Laguna Beach chapter. I'm like, what? Like, is that what you call these? Like,
We need to find these shirts online. We need a merch store.
gosh.
We need our Abe shirt, and then we need our Friends of Heaven shirt.
Laguna
Guys.
Beach chapter, yes.
start a Redbubble account. I'm not kidding. I will buy this merch because that would be iconic. And I love, like, we'll talk more about it, but Jen, cutting the t-shirt off to him. Like, she's putting her own little flair on it. Like, if she's gonna have to wear this, she will wear it her way.
That's how I am too, girl. That's why I love Jen, because I hate wearing big old baggy t-shirts, and they're always so big. So whenever I would get them, even when I was in high school, my mom would get mad at me. She's like, "Why are you cutting it up?" And I just tell her, "Okay, if you want me to wear this shirt, I'm gonna make it look good. So
You are
let me
Jen.
cut it up, okay?"
I love it. I did think, as funny as this episode was, there were some really, really touching moments.
Yeah.
And one of the most touching for me was when Judy goes to the group, the support group for, you know, fellow people who have either lost babies or, like, having trouble conceiving, I believe. And the "I am not broken" scene, like, hit me so hard. Did you guys also cry during that?
Yeah, I really felt that it was about, in that moment when she was saying it, "I'm not broken," I felt that it was about more than just the miscarriage to her. I thought a lot about her relationship with Steve and how, you know, it's borderline actually abusive. It is abusive. And I think it was more than just, you know, what had happened to her. I think it was a culmination of things that have happened to her. So I think that was extra powerful because of it. And then also they did like a Hitchcock shot. Did anybody notice that? Like the psycho shot where it's like a reverse. Anyone? No.
No,
But it, like,
that's really cool.
I love like that camera usage. I thought it was really cool and really like drew in on her. And I was just like, oh, intense. I love it. I love the emotion.
They do such a good job of, like, doing
So
different
good.
directing techniques to, like, make you really feel certain emotions, which is really, really cool. I also love how the grief counselor was, if you guys are One Day at a Time fans, that was actually Gloria Calderon-Kellett, who is the co-creator of One Day at a Time, which is really cool, and also an actress, so I was like, I know her, like, what is she from? So I thought that was really fun to have the little Netflix family all sort of come together in that episode, too. So obviously she's also still having a lot of flashbacks to this car accident, you know, / when she accidentally murdered her best friend's husband, you know, as one does, sometimes it happens. And then they go to the bar, and Jen is super excited, you know, wants to get laid, wants to do all of the things, and she's kind of reserved and kind of sitting back until she sees a man named Nick singing a song at karaoke and devoting it to Lucas. What was your first impressions of him?
I just thought, you know, first of all, great song, good singer. He seemed very sweet, but I didn't know it was gonna lead to anything more. I thought she was just gonna be like, okay, mesmerized for a moment, and I thought maybe that song was the song that was playing in the car before she hit Ted. That's why I thought maybe she was.
Oh, interesting.
But I don't know, could be wrong. Maybe she just really likes the song, like
That'd
she
be a
said.
cool
But I thought
tie-in.
that's why,
I think
because
he
they kind
wrote
of
it, yeah?
it kind of that's an actual song like from the 80s.
Oh.
Yeah. I know a lot about music.
We need to do our music research. I'm like, what was
yeah,
that?
it's an actual song, but I thought that's why she couldn't move, because it kind of triggered, oh, that's the last song, or that's the song that was playing when I hit the guy, but I guess she just likes the song. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. I really like that, you know, this episode covered just all types of grief, which was cool. I mean, like, this was his friend he lost, and then you see, like, spouse or partner, and, you know, Wayne, Pastor Wayne, his aunt. So I thought it was cool that it's, like, all types of grief. But then also with Judy, it just reminded me, like, later on, you know, when they go back to the room and they're laying together and she's, like, showing you the pictures on the phone, it reminded me so much of the phone call that she had initially with Jen in the very first episode.
Yeah.
Like, Judy is such a good listener. Like, I noticed because, like, you know, those people who are very caring, they'll let you ask a few questions about them, but she immediately was like, you know, like, I wanna know more about you.
Yeah.
Like, tell me more about your friend. And I was like, oh, like, she doesn't even, like, you know, this awful thing happened to her, but she's making it about the other person, which I thought was really special. So
Yeah, I want to give props to Judy for having the guts to go up and flirt with the guy, because I can't do that. So. I know you had been drinking, girl, but still, props to Judy.
Judy.
Well, the relationship was just so sweet and pure from the beginning, and I love how...
Oh, and how he said he wanted to take things slow and everything. Where do guys, like, do they actually exist?
Twitter
Nick,
poll right
come
now.
on. Where are they? I mean... Okay, that was nice to see on the show. Hopefully, you know, we can find one in real life, at least for me. Okay, so anyway.
Well, I love how timid it sort of was, too. They were both, like, not quite sure if they were, like, wanting the other person to flirt with them, and then they eventually did, you know, take it to the bedroom unexpectedly, which it was such a cute little progression, which was, like, so nice to see, and I was really excited that Judy got, you know, a little ounce of happiness.
And then that, you know, Jen was a good friend, you know, with the leaving, you know, them in the room and, you know, giving her suggestions on her poontang.
Yes! Oh my gosh, I loved that line too because it's just like the banter is so good between them.
So authentic.
I thought
so
that was
authentic.
so fun.
Just lean into it. Just
Lean into it, you know. On, sort of the other side of the spectrum, we have Jen, who her day, starts out pretty good and then it quickly kind of goes the opposite way of Judy's. So she has her eye on a man named Jason, who is from This Is Us. Is that correct?
Shameless and
Shameless.
Oh
wow,
my
sorry.
gosh. I literally was watching the show. I was telling them I was watching the show and I was like, where is he from? And I was like, Reba. Because I used
Yes,
to watch it all the time as a
Reba.
kid. It was so good.
Well,
Steve.
she definitely has her eye on him, so much so that she agrees to go to the big question. I like the names of these things. So good.
Windows to the Widow or something like that.
Windows
for the
to
other
the
one.
Widow.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so bad and so good. I love how cringe it is. But she decides to go to that meeting with him, but, not without her alcohol, which I'm like, that's right. Like, if you're going to compromise, you're not going to compromise that. Which
I loved when she was going to the thing with the putting in the water bottles.
Yes.
That's me. I've done that before. I'm just saying. Sometimes you need alcohol to make you kind of, like,
Loosey-goosey.
I don't know, tolerate certain things. So, anyway, what am I promoting? Anyway, move on.
Sorry. Well, they were fun. They were fun to watch too, especially in that, the big question scene because they're, kind of like little school kids in the back talking and Pastor Wayne's, giving them the death stare because they're interrupting the entire group. But it was a lot of fun to watch and we kind of see them go throughout their day. He mentions that his wife died in a sailing accident, so they sort of have that in common too. And they just kind of start having fun. Jen is her normal self talking some crap about Pastor Wayne. Pastor Wayne's right behind her. Oh, Jen.
That was so
that
high school.
poor guy, dude.
That was so high
poor-
school. I was like, this is literally like a kid getting in trouble. Like
That actually did happen to me in high school. I don't want to go into it, but it felt really bad.
Anais is just exposing herself on the show
I
today.
know.
The true you.
Jen is. I just relate to her. Okay.
They also end up at the bar, the same bar that Judy is at, obviously, because they're a package deal. And I thought the scene where she asked Jason
Oh.
if he wants to quote-unquote dance was so funny. What was your guys' reaction to the whole bar scene and that whole interaction? And did you think that they were going to make a good couple? Because I felt they were sort of awkward all the way through.
100%. Like from the beginning, I was like, he is too good to be true. He's too put together. Like, I was like, who is this man walking around? Like, he's like, yeah, I'm going to yoga. I'm like, mindful. And I was like, something good is not coming because he's like too put together. But at first, I thought I misheard it too. I was like, wait, what did she
Turn
say?
on the
Like,
captions.
I was
Yeah.
Jason. I was like, what? Like, rewind. Oh, she did say it. Like,
I was like, you go, girl. Like, both her and Judy just really went for it in this episode. So I kind of commend them for having the guts to do that. But it was just hilarious.
I just think from the beginning, though, she was too much for him. Like, he was so much more reserved. I'm like, she's going to eat him alive. And she kind of does. It's, like, kind of insane. But they eventually go back to his bedroom, and he talks about a lot of
Oh
things.
my
He gets a lot of things off his chest about how he couldn't save his wife and how he's living a life of total deprivation now. How hard were you guys cringing during this?
It's not what you say when you want to, set the mood. So definitely a mood killer. Yeah.
it was so cringy. I'm just really mad because, like, moms are people too, and grieving people are grieving too, and this was her time. This was her light at the end of the tunnel.
That's true.
And he just dropped all these bombs, and I was like, please no.
I
Like,
wanted her to get some action. She needs it. It's been a while, especially after she found all that stuff about Ted. And I'm just like, dude, you just had to ruin it.
I loved the part where she's like, where she's trying to find her purse, and he's like, "You should leave." And she's like, "I know, that's why I'm trying to find my purse."
that was so Jen.
I thought it was so good.
Jen.
Like, it just increases the awkwardness to like a 1 million, and I just so appreciate that in writing when they just take it the extra step. I wonder how much of it is improv too, because I feel like that could be a total Christina Applegate improv type thing.
Yeah.
I want to know.
I'd be curious.
I did
to
see
find
an
that
interview
out.
where they talked about it, and they said that they left a lot of improv in.
Oh.
I want to know everything.
It
I need to know
feels
the receipts,
natural.
specific moments. I want to know.
Yeah, because it does. It feels very authentic and just
Yeah.
like kind of rolling with it. So I could definitely see some of this being, just little add-ins that they do at the end, which I thought is really fun. But she kind of spirals after this. She goes outside and actually runs into Pastor Wayne, and they surprisingly have a pretty touching moment, and he kind of realizes and kind of makes her realize this, that she does use this cynicism and this humor to deal with grief. And she opens up about Ted cheating on her and that she doesn't want to hate him necessarily, but she still kind of does, and he makes the revelation that, hey, maybe you can't forgive him for dying. What did you guys think of this whole conversation? I thought it was very nuanced and really interesting to watch.
I first of all, I do love Pastor Wayne. He's so sweet and good, and I feel like he's very understanding. But for 1 second, I thought maybe they were gonna make out.
I thought so too.
I thought it was just me. I wasn't gonna say anything.
They
I'm
both
just saying.
been under the influence of something. I was like,
I was so worried. I totally
I
agree.
was very uncomfortable. I was like, she's gonna get it somehow. That went through my head. It really did, and I was like,
For a
no, I
second,
can't think that. I can't. But I mean, it was
because I didn't know Pastor Wayne's situation. I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he needed some
Yes.
help too.
I wonder if they meant to do that, because if all of us are having this reaction where we're like, ooh, something's about to
the show
happen.
does do the unexpected, so I wouldn't be surprised. Let us know, Liz. Let us know. We want to
Please
know.
tell us.
But yeah, I don't know. I think this moment was really special because it was really about grief within grief, right? So I mean, we're gonna see across like this whole season, the arc of grief in these characters. But I mean, when you go from a high with someone, like she loves him so much, and you can tell. And Pastor Wayne does say that to her. But to go from that to finding out that he cheated on you, and it was like this arc of like almost like cheating grief, like of her going through this. But I thought it was really cool too that she loves him so much, and you don't really see that with characters sometimes. I feel like, especially when, a lot of shows with like women these age and men these ages in these relationships in these families, they're kind of just always like, oh yeah, like the husband and wife don't really love each other anymore. It's been like 25 years of marriage, but to see this and like know that they love each other so much, I thought was kind of refreshing in a way.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point. I think that makes a lot of sense then leading into what happens with her next. She is wanting a pack of cigarettes, aka the best thing that slowly kills you, I think is what they said in the pilot. And she walks along the road, and it's kind of an ominous situation. There's cars passing. We wonder if she might be in some kind of danger. And it's just like a very intense moment. And she eventually does get back to the hotel room, and she tells Judy, like, I have to get my life together for my kids. What did you guys think of that? I thought that was like sort of rock bottom for her in a way.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty powerful moment, and hopefully, a good turning point for Jen. And hopefully, I don't know, I just hope she is able to, I guess, properly move on from Ted and the heartbreak and grief and everything, and I just feel so bad for her overall. So
the light at the end of the tunnel perhaps is that we find out at the end of this episode that Nick, he has been alluding to his coworker, his partner, and it turns out he is actually a cop who has solved a hit and run or two in his past. Were you guys surprised that Judy's like trying to get him involved?
I was a little bit surprised, like, wait, why would you, do you want her to find out it was you, or, but then I think that's kind of proves to me that she is such a good person, such a good friend, that maybe she's willing to risk, going to jail, Nick hating her for lying, because if he finds out, he's probably not gonna like her anymore, so she's risking all this stuff to help her friend, so I think, Judy's just that good of a person. I don't know.
Yeah, I love the nuance of it, because it's so funny. I mean, we've watched it all the way through. You've watched up to this point, but I've been watching it back clearly before these, and the nuance acting, it's so good. And like Judy makes a face. Like when she's like, oh, he's a detective, he's gonna solve it. You see them both, like the last shot is like Jen being like, yes, and then Judy's just like, oh no. But I didn't notice it the first time, so.
They plant so many of these little seeds, and it's So much fun
Incredible.
to watch.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the next episode and the Holy Harmonizers, aka literally my favorite part of the show.
My life goal.
Yes. Can someone tell us what is happening here at AfterBuzz TV?
Hey guys, so I just want to thank you all for watching AfterBuzz and making us the ESPN of TV talk. And AfterBuzz, I mean, I haven't been here that long, but it's been pretty great. I mean, I'm already on 3 after shows just today, so thank you, AfterBuzz, for all that. So if you like what you see, please remember to subscribe, like, comment on YouTube. If you're listening on iTunes podcast, rate, give us 5 stars if you want. And keep watching and tell other people about us, share our stuff, and follow us on social media. It'd be great. So
Yes.
We respond.
We do.
We're all very active.
Mia
so.
especially is very good at that. So if you guys
It might take me a while.
want a shout out from Mia, which you absolutely do, definitely leave a comment.
Gotcha.
Thank you, Anais. Thank you so much. Let's move on to, oh my god, very appropriately titled this episode. Let's start off by talking about Charlie, because he sort of was the main plotline of this episode, which I didn't exactly see coming, but was really excited to see, because I love seeing Jen, be a mother and interact with their kids, especially Charlie, because they have such
She's so
a good...
hardcore. I love it.
Yeah, she is. They have
Yes.
such a great, banter. It's incredible. So Charlie is selling some drugs at school. Pills, in fact. Pills that we later find out are Ted's. And because of the situation, because of Ted, dying and him struggling and having a hard time with that, they have decided to suspend him for 2 weeks instead of getting in trouble with the law. Were you surprised at Charlie acting out this way?
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
he showed signs in the
Yeah.
very first episode. He was like,
But
"Here I am. Here are my true colors." I love that he was like, she was like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm running a small business." I was like, "That's amazing. That's amazing." It's so funny.
I love how they cut from, I think, her saying, "Oh, kids are so resilient," like your son's stealing drugs. That was awesome. So thank you for that. And I know, just later on when she's arguing with Charlie, and he's like, "I'm not scared of you." She's like, "Well, you should be."
Yes.
I love him. I actually had that same
Jen.
conversation with my dog today because he was a very bad boy today, so I was not happy with him. So
There were so many quotable, wonderful lines in this episode. One that I wrote down that I like, where she's like, "The dominoes have fallen, bro." That's so good.
I'm like, she literally Googled that.
Yeah.
She was like, "What do I say to my child?"
The way that she talks, and she's like, "Well, we're gonna have other things happen too, but I can't think of
Yeah.
anything creative." I was like, she's so good.
Oh.
I love it. Even when it's, tension filled like this, it's still kind of fun. You kind of have to laugh it off in a way. Were you surprised that the pills were Ted's?
I wasn't really surprised because, another secret he's keeping, what else is new? So, what about you?
I thought maybe they were gonna be Jen's.
Yeah, me too.
Like I don't know. I wouldn't suspect it was Ted's, but I will say I feel like it's gonna have something to do with later down the line. Not that we know yet, even watching it, but I just feel like they don't introduce anything in the show without it meaning something. So that's my call right now.
Okay.
That's very true. However, she does give him the drug test himself, and it's clear. And I thought that was interesting too, especially because the drugs or the pills were Ted. So it's like maybe she's worried that he's inheriting these sort of traits from him. So I'm glad at least that test was clear. For now, at least he's not in that aspect of trouble. I mean, he's in a lot more, but that part I think is a relief for her. And she decides that she is going to scare him straight, essentially.
Yes, I love
so
the girl.
Jen, so funny. They call Nick over. Were you guys faked out at first, or did you know what she was doing the whole time?
I didn't.
I knew.
was like,
I knew.
Again? The cops are here again?
No, I knew because I love Scared Straight that show. So that's probably a strategy I would employ as well. So I knew what's going on. But I thought it was so cute when he mentioned the lucky pen. They're like, oh my gosh, lucky pen.
Yeah,
It's like, oh my god.
He is soft a little bit.
Yes,
He has a
he
good
has
side.
At the softness, yes. But yeah, the gun that was pretty scary. that
Yeah,
gun.
it does. It twists really fast. We're like, oh, this is serious, but sort of funny. They're scaring him straight. And then they take a gun out of his backpack. which I kind of assumed, I guess, that he would have somehow gotten into Ted's safe, but it turns out that it was from Lorna who gave it to Ted in his stocking, which, you know, I feel like she's a Texas woman, you know? I feel like she's not a Laguna Beach native, her.
We think Jen's hardcore, but we know who the real hardcore
Lorna!
one is. Lorna.
But that turned into a really emotional scene, too, I thought, because Jen, you know, she's obviously angry, but it kind of flips to, like, trying to protect Charlie, too. Like, she gives him a hug. She's like, why do you not feel safe? And I felt really bad for both of them in that scene.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really touching moment, though.
And I like that she kind of started kind of trying to understand him a little bit better and wasn't just scolding him all this whole time, because I know some parents would probably do that. So that was nice. And what was I going to say right now? I don't remember. So my mind just went blank.
No, I agree, though, because, I mean, we do allude to the fact, and Lorna especially alludes to the fact that Jen's not naturally maternal, and she, you know, wasn't as involved as Ted was, and I think that her trying to understand and protect him, like, shows that other side of her that we don't quite see as much, and I thought that was really beautiful and, like, necessary for us to witness that. But Charlie's not the only one of the kids getting in trouble. We also have Henry freak out at the local school concert because one of the kids misses a note. I thought it was so funny. What did you guys think of that?
Especially after Jen and Judy were like, he's so perfect. All of a sudden, like, okay, he's not. So I think, you know, it just showed he's not perfect. And it was hilarious. And he reminds me a lot, I don't know if any of you know the band Keen. Sorry, I'm really into music. And he looks a lot like the lead singer, Tom. So I should have brought a picture, but I will next time. He looks so much like Tom.
Your next Charlie, the next superstar.
Yes,
absolutely.
Or Henry.
Yeah. Well, Henry's clearly talented, though, because let's talk about the best part of this episode. The holy harmonizers. You sacred thing.
Oh, sacred thing. Okay, you sacred thing.
I was shook by that, but I also want an entire album and an entire spin-off.
And a shirt.
And a shirt! Holy harmonizers, mom.
Yeah, someone get
you would
this
get a
going.
bumper sticker.
I'm the proud mother of a holy harmonizer.
Oh my gosh. That made this whole episode. I loved it.
It was so good, and I so hope we see more of them in season 2 because it will happen. And we do, spoiler alert, see a little bit more of them as season 1 goes on, which is just so exciting. And I love how, like, we have Charlie there being punished, like, being in Pastor Wayne's support group, and then we have Henry, like, something that should be a punishment, like, not want to join, and he's, like, so excited. He's like, they are fierce, Mom. Like, let's do it. I want to be part of this. I thought that was so good.
Yes.
Amazing. We also get to know a little bit about Henry's classmate, Shandy, who is
very morbid.
Very morbid, very interesting. She is 9 years old, and she is actually the one who found Ted after the accident, which I was like, oh my gosh, like, I had the same reaction as Judy, and I love how Jen was, like, not concerned, really. She's like, oh yeah, she went to school the next day, like, she was fine. What were your guys' impressions on Shandy, who was potentially a sociopath?
Yeah, I was definitely thinking that because she seemed to enjoy it. She drew a picture of Ted's body, and she actually kept, part of something,
the headlight
that was stuck to his body. So hopefully we get to know a little bit more about her, and I'm a little concerned for her. So
I don't want to know any more about Shandy. That was enough for me. I was like, oh my god.
Her mom she said something about, now I have to raise a sociopath or psychopath. I have to deal with that or something. So at least the mom knows. She's aware, because some parents, they're not aware.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's very true.
But like they said, she did name her kid Shandy. So, like, what do you expect?
That's true.
Yikes.
What did you expect?
Why?
That's so funny.
You're setting her up for failure.
Yeah, why did you give her the name Shandy?
Yeah, I don't know. That is, like, pretty random. I've never heard that before. But I think I was surprised, but at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't be, because this show, I feel like, shows grief and how people process grief in such unexpected ways that all of us thought, like, I think we all have the same reaction. We were like, oh my gosh, she found Ted, and then we meet her, and I'm like, of course, they're gonna make this girl, like, I don't care. It didn't affect me at all, like,
And another
They
reason
would.
why Shandy is just not a good name. Okay, it's one letter. If you take one letter off, it's Shady. Shady Shandy.
Oh,
People can be calling her
Shandy.
Shady
Do you
Shandy.
think that was
I'm
another
surprised
Easter egg?
the kids are not
Shady.
calling her
Oh.
Shady Shandy, and her being Morbid. Yeah, it's pretty shady.
Shandy.
Okay,
I would
so
not want to be
too
bullied
funny.
by you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
I don't bully people, but I just think of the
But
possibilities.
you can think of it.
I'm like, if I'm gonna name my kids, I'm gonna make sure they cannot be bullied. So I'm not gonna name them Shandy. So
Fair enough, honestly, fair enough.
Agreed.
We also, in addition to the headlight, which obviously is probably gonna come back, so we don't just introduce things and not, and not see what consequences they have. We also get a little bit deeper into the actual case in this episode, and it starts off when Jen and Judy are at the scene of the accident, actually, and I love seeing the two different reactions yet again. Jen's like so angry that this is even here. She hates that there's
takes
a
a
cross
cross,
there. And Judy's like, oh my god, like we
She's like,
need
"I'm
to
so
keep that
sorry."
cross there, which I thought was just I just love seeing their dynamic because they work so well, but like they shouldn't. Like
Yeah.
they're not similar in very many ways.
And then when she's like, "Does this look like a napkin?" Jen's just like,
No,
it
tucks
away.
it right in.
Yeah.
So good. And then, yes, we also have Nick sort of getting more involved. He actually goes to the Laguna PD, which I love how sick of these people the Laguna PD is.
Did you know, I noticed she was like, hey Judy, and he was like, you know her? And she was like, yeah. She goes, I like your hair. They probably love Judy down at the jail.
But they're also so tired of seeing
Yeah.
it, which I think is so funny. But it turns out that the Laguna PD desperately needs more evidence to do anything, about this hit and run. And Judy, I love how she's asking all these prying questions. She's like, so, like, what is the percentage if you don't have this evidence? And it turns out that it's 8%, which is pretty freaking low. And, Judy's pretty excited about that. But then also there with Nick, like, her priorities are she doesn't have them straight, I don't think.
Judy's going
Yeah,
through
why?
it.
I feel like especially when she's having the lunch with Nick. Why are you talking about the case so much? Girl, you're gonna give him clues. Stop it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay, it's enough that you're already
Indeed.
having him investigate. Shut it, girl. Shut it.
Well, and she asks the questions about, like, oh, maybe he was depressed. Like, would that be the driver's fault then? And we find out from Nick that it's not necessarily, the hit that's the crime. It's the running afterwards,
Which I never knew.
either. So, yeah, we learned more about that.
Mhm.
And he's like, well, but if there is no car, there's no
No car,
crime.
no
And
crime.
so she's, like, repeating that mantra in her head. She's like, fine, if there's no car, there's no crime. She goes to the garage, and lo and behold, there's no car, which, yikes, though, because, like, what happened to it?
Steve, this Laguna Peach Psycho got it, maybe?
Yeah, let's do a quick little prediction here. What do you think, who do you think has it, and why do you think they have it?
The only person I can think of is him because he's the only one that, at least that I know of, that has access to the storage unit. So if it's not her, him. I feel like maybe he took it to get the car destroyed. I feel like that would be the smart thing to do. I'm thinking if I committed that crime, just to take and destroy it. That's, yeah.
It's a fair assessment. We're not going to tell you the answer,
We'll find
obviously.
out.
on
Don't say.
Sunday.
We also, before we move to our fun little games and segments, I did want to touch on the fact that we also find out a little bit more about Nick and Nick's partner, and we find out that Nick's partner was actually shot on the job too, which is why he had such a visceral reaction to finding the gun, which I thought was a sweet moment between him and Judy too, because she's so nurturing and like wants to comfort everyone, which I really liked and appreciate.
I like Nick.
Me too. I like finding out more
Stay
about
around
him
Nick.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, stick
Yes.
around, but also
Please.
like don't solve the crime. All right, you guys, it is time for our special segment. Dead or Tread.
Oh my gosh, this is my favorite
I'm
part.
obsessed. Yes. Mia, you have some questions for us, do you?
Yes, I got really into the music. So we are going to play Dead or Tread round 2. So basically in this game, we'll name some scenarios from the show, and we'll all talk about whether if that person did that to us, would they be dead to us? Would we cut ties? Or would we just move forward with them and just tread lightly? Maybe forgive if we're feeling really nice.
If we are.
If we're feeling nice. So first, someone spilling their guts to you while it's getting hot and steamy, aka Jason and Jen. Do you cut ties or say, I'm going through a lot.
I think that we're treading on friendship, but I'm not sure we would become romantically involved because I feel like it's just like there's really no recovering from that in terms of romance. But like, if I like the person, maybe I'd want to help them process and be there for them as like a resource. So I'll say tread as a human being.
Yeah, tread as well. It's just not. You just ruined the moment. You didn't ruin my life. So,
that's a good way to put
it. That's so nice. Wait, I would maybe say like dead to me, like cut ties. Because I'm like, oh my god, you're so weird. Like I'm very much an empath. Like I will be like, oh my god, how can I help you? Like I feel your energy. Like I'm so sorry. Like however I can help you. But if it's just like a one night thing, like Judy just met him or Jen just met him, and I just feel like he's going through a lot. Like I think maybe like you should just part ways.
That's fair too. Protect yourself.
Part ways.
Maybe in this case.
Yeah. Okay. So second question: a friend sexiling you, which that means like basically saying, "Hey, can I have the room?" And they're not telling you when you come back that the guy's still there, aka Judy and Nick. When Jen
Honestly,
returns.
tread. Like do what you want. If I if I had some work to get done or like I needed to go home because I like had a headache or something, like that's a different story. But just in a normal case, I
love that.
I'm really thinking these through. Like this is very important that I get this right.
Very important.
But I gotta say tread. Yeah, you live your life.
I mean, especially like the first time, tread. But if you keep doing it all the time, then I'm gonna get on you. So.
That's fair.
Yeah, I would also say tread. Because it's a friend, you want them to have fun, you feel for them. Coming back though, and them not being there, and then me like breaking down, like crying, and being like, "Oh, you weren't here, I'm startled." It's a little awkward, but I think you can move past it. So yeah, I'm glad we're all in agreement. Okay, and then finally, finding a gun in your son's bag. So I guess they wouldn't be dead to you because that's not possible. It's your son, and also that's just aggressive. But would you ground them forever? Would they be in so much trouble, or would you just say, they're in a lot of grief right now?
I think I would ground them forever, but I would like to think that I would also have sort of a Jen reaction and be like, okay, let's talk about this because clearly you are feeling things and I want to, help you from the situation. But I mean, they'd be in a lot of trouble. You don't mess around with that.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely in trouble, but also would want to educate them, help them, and find out why they have the gun because I don't think punishment is... Just punishment by itself is not good. I feel like people need to be helped and informed and everything. So definitely want to try to educate him.
Yeah, I would say tread lightly. I mean, it's your son, and they're going through a lot. Like that makes a lot of sense. But whoever gave him that gun, dead to me. Are you kidding?
Lorna's already dead to her,
think you
though.
are? I feel like parents nowadays are like, before they're like, you give like their kid their phone to play on. They're like, please ask me. Like,
Does
can
it
you
have
imagine
gluten?
giving someone
Does it have
someone's son a
nuts?
gun?
Yeah, son, you're
Nutso.
okay, but whoever, yes, exactly, I agree.
Lorna?
Whoever gave him the gun, excuse me, you have some splaining to do, okay?
That's totally fair. And guys, since we did not have time for a game on Sunday, you guys can check out Mia's social media because she is going to be doing a poll with 3 questions, Jen or Judy, like which one do you relate more in this situation. So definitely go vote on that, and then we'll share the results on our show this Sunday, which is very exciting. So yes, check out her Instagram, and she will let you know where to find that in just a second. But before that, we actually have some great news about the show and about the people involved in the show for you guys too.
I'm gonna try to go real quick. Okay, so this was from actually the first episode, but Dead to Me was actually #1 in Netflix UK streaming, but then it recently got beat by Riverdale. But Dead to Me is still #2.
That's pretty good. You're
Still
going up against
number 2.
Riverdale. You
It
know?
just went down
#1
from
in
1
our
to 2.
hearts.
Okay, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Number 1
and
in our
then just a
hearts.
little bit about the creator Liz Feldman and a lot of stuff she went through, and just kind of how she came up with the idea of the show. She went through a lot. She was, struggling to conceive, and she had basically the fertility clinic. I believe that's the people that get the eggs. They had lost her like 8th egg or something like that, and yeah, she had made 1 egg. They lost it, and yeah, it was her 8th one. And she said, yes, you're totally allowed to laugh. I had to laugh too because I was so tired of crying. You can actually read it. We'll post a link in the description so you can read it. She wrote it for glamour.com.
What an amazing woman.
And then after that, so that's not the only thing, okay? So on the day, I think it was around the same time, a little bit after that, on the day of her 40th birthday, her cousin David died unexpectedly of a heart attack.
Oh my God.
He was 50. He was kind of like the life of the party, very loved, and he was a dad to 2 kids. So
Wow.
yeah, that was horrible as well. And then the day after her cousin passed away, her best friend Sarah said that she was pregnant with her 2nd child, but since Liz was struggling to conceive, she actually had to go excuse herself to go to the bathroom to cry because she was like happy for her friend but sad because she's able to have 2 kids now. She hasn't been able to have any. And then the following day, she had lunch with her other best friend Kelly, who also told her she was pregnant as well. So it was a lot, to go through. And she said it was impossible not to be furious at the cruelty and relentlessness of life. So she said, with Dead to Me, I have definitely experienced incredible luck. And she got to birth this idea and grow it into a show. It's on Netflix now. And even though she didn't have good luck with, having children and everything, sadly, her friend Kelly also ended up, she lost her baby 5 months into the pregnancy. So, she went through that too. But then she said that she was able to hire Kelly as a writer on Dead to Me. So, there's a little bit of a, nice positive twist,
being
I
able
guess.
to pour yourself into something after
Yeah,
all
and
that.
and I think that's about all of that I'm gonna share without depressing you too much. But you can actually read it, the whole article she wrote, in the description below for Glamour. So
Wow.
she went through a lot.
Yeah, what a strong woman. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for sharing that with us. It's really interesting to hear kind of, what this show was sort of birthed from, those sort of experiences. But what an awesome lady.
Yeah, she said that she basically, from going through all of that, she had to learn to kind of try to, I guess she kind of, to use kind of laughter to try to kind of get through it.
Yeah. Well, it definitely shows.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us for another Dead to Me after show. We will see you guys back here this Sunday. Before we go, though, guys, where can everyone find you on social media to continue the conversation?
You can find me on Instagram at morethanyoutthink7.
Woo! I'm on Instagram at yours truly Mia, and social will have a game there, so be sure to follow and vote on the poll. And Twitter is Hot Mess Mia.
Awesome. You guys can find me on Twitter at alphabet_Ann, on Instagram at Taylor_Gates_. I'm also on the Law & Order SVU after show directly after this, so catch that. We will see you guys on Sunday. Thank you for tuning in.
Our founder, Keven Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.